So joining us now is an American hero. She's doing amazing. And Turning Point alum, Congresswoman Paulina Luna, who has been pushing forward on this inherent contempt vote with Merrick Garland. Now, we reported on Twitter last night that some people couldn't be bothered to rebook their flights. Let me say that again. This vote was not able to be successful because some members had to go back to their districts to go raise money. What the heck is going on, Paulina Luna?
So I don't know the full dynamics of some of the absences, but what I will say is we had a few members out due to family emergencies. I think 2 members ended up going to the hospital. So what I will say is that there was actually a numbers issue. It's not just this that went down. There was a legislative appropriations bill that actually went down, and that's one of our biggest bills that we do of the year. And so I will say this, we've already refiled, and I'm actually currently in talks with one of the members that has been a hard no on multiple contempt votes. And so it's my hopes that we can get everyone on board. And obviously we will be fully bringing this back up as soon as we get back. As you know, we're out for convention and then we return. So we will be bringing this back up.
So this is what I don't understand. So there's only so many work days, and I want to walk through the entire story. So just everyone understands, John Duarte from California, David Joyce from Ohio, Mike Turner from Ohio, and Tom McClintock from California, they couldn't be bothered to rebook their flights to hold Merrick Garland in inherent contempt?
Well, they were actually there and voting. And I think, these members, again, I am in talks with a few of them to get them on board with what we're doing. I think there was other absences that were actually, I think the number is close to 11 Republican members were missing. As you know, Representative Massey, he had his wife pass away, and Representative Mast had his father pass away. And so there were some members that were gone, but they will be back. And so those members, remember last night, between last night and tonight, the Democrats actually flew in people and we lost people. And so I believe that's actually why this went down. If you saw, it was by very few votes. And also to remember, they actually put this vote midway and there were people leaving early for flights. And so I actually am going to be asking leadership to ensure that this is actually placed at the front of the pack for the next vote series, because sometimes this happens on flyout days.
So let's take a step back. What is the significance of this inherent contempt vote? What would this mean for Merrick Garland?
So it would mean that Merrick Garland is not above the law, but also it would fine him for defying subpoenas. It's crazy to me that the media has not linked this to really what happened with Watergate, and the fact that we've had in the Watergate situation, there were tapes that were being Congress was prevented from seeing. And obviously that was used during impeachment. And ultimately, the fact is that we have to ensure that the institution is protected and that people are not defying subpoenas. And that's what this is really all about. And I think the fact that Garland is getting a free pass, meanwhile, Americans go to jail for less, is a huge problem. And so, again, my Republican colleagues and also Democrats were unaware that this was a tool that has really been in the Jefferson's manual for a very long time. It was kind of forgotten since the 1900s. And so we are bringing it back. And I do hope that one of those no votes will actually help me with the legislation, and that we will get final passage on this when we return.
So the no votes, I hope, have a change of mind and a change of tune. And the process as it is fit, this is all very timely. Right now, Steve Bannon is in a federal prison cell for contempt of Congress. Right now, Peter Navarro is in a federal prison cell for contempt of Congress. Eric Holder was held in contempt of Congress. No one held him accountable. Merrick Garland, no one is accountable. You said it perfectly, Anna. We are lectured by the apparatchiks in the Operation Mockingbird media on a daily basis. Well, no one's above the law. No one's above the law. No one's above the law. But is Merrick Garland currently above the law?
Currently, he is. And that is exactly what I'm trying to prevent, is there to be a two-tier justice system. again, if you could see what we were dealing with, and I'm sure you saw some of the floor debates last night, Charlie, but there was multiple attempts, not just by deep state actors, and I mean that. There were people that even before this came to the floor for the parliamentary procedures to even allow it to come to the floor. They were trying to kill this. They were telling members of Congress that the House had no legal standing, which was actually false. There's Supreme Court precedents for what we're doing. They were trying to convince members that this was not actually something that could be done and that the fine was unconstitutional, which is also false. Again, I actually faced the same pushback from the same people actually when we had the Adam Schiff vote. But again, members, especially every member is going to vote their conscience. And I do believe that some of those no votes may have their reasonings for not doing really what the rest of us are doing, which is holding Garland. However, it doesn't mean that they can't change their mind. And so I'm having these conversations. But what I will say is that we are in a very curious time in our country because we know that Trump is going to be retaking the White House. Democrats are already making their exit plans. We're hearing Kamala Harris is actually considering a governor's run. And also, too, we're hearing that Obama's team is increasingly trying to push Biden out. So you're actually seeing a massive rift. And then also this week, the Democrats that flew back in were not the ones that support Joe Biden. They were the ones that do support Joe Biden. And so you're seeing this come to, I think, the forefront. And again, going into convention, I think that a lot of people have something to consider. But remember, if we're in a truly free country, we need to establish that Congress is an equal co-branch of government. And so we can't have people undermine that. And that's exactly what is happening right now with AG Garland. And again, there's massive comparisons into what happened with the Watergate scandal. And I'm surprised media hasn't picked up on that.
So you say that Kamala Harris is thinking of running for governor of California?
Yeah, actually, the Kevin Kiley actually had posted that they were receiving words that she's actually considering that, and then that she's already prospecting. So they know that she's out
primarying Gavin Newsom, or
I think Gavin Newsom is going to potentially make a 2028 run. We'll see what ends up happening if he ends up leaving prior, but she's definitely considering that, possibly primary. But I'm also hearing that Joe Biden is now trying to pass something that would effectively treat Ukraine like a NATO country and prevent us from cutting off funding. And that's going to be something that he's doing by executive order. So he knows that he's leaving and that Trump's going to mitigate and stop what's happening with Ukraine and Russia. And so he's making a last ditch effort to tie our hands.
So let's kind of summarize all this together. Is leadership behind this inherent contempt vote?
I think that leadership is behind it currently as it stands. And I will say that I do hope that they continue to help push this towards the front of the pack on the next vote series. And I also hope that they have had all their questions answered, especially after the floor debate, where we actually destroyed the Democrats' arguments that this was not constitutional or could not be argued in the Supreme Court. Remember, Charlie, there's a lot of people up here, not leadership, but staff, that have been extremely problematic and that do intentionally every step of the way try to undermine and also get in the ear of the representatives, whatever it might be, whether it's saying that it's not accurate legislation or that there's no case law for it. And so, again, if you guys could see what we were fighting just to get it to the floor, you guys would be shocked. But what I will say is that you saw the Republican body as a whole supports this, and we do want to fight for this country. We do want to establish us as an equal co-branch of government. So I look forward to working with one of those members that's a no vote. And what I will say is that we're not stopping. I hope you guys continue to support those members of Congress that are trying to bring accountability to Garland. And what I will say is Garland, from what I know and I'm hearing, was absolutely sweating. And he was actually continuing to call members, trying to convince them to take a walk.
So just really quick, I have to, you're doing amazing, Anna. We're so proud of you. You said that there are Republican members of staff that are trying to undercut the wishes of Republican voters. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I actually caught several that were intentionally lying to key people that advise members, saying that this wasn't constitutional. And I think that it's going to be appropriate for those people to be dealt with on the back end. And I'm going to ensure that that happens. But they are in very powerful positions and have been in Washington for probably 20 years and are in positions that advise the House legally. And that can't be tolerated.
Yeah, and by the way, the power is in the staff. You know that. So much of the power that is vested in Congress is in the staff. So what is the call to action, 1 minute remaining, Anna, for this audience?
I'm going to ask every person to please nicely call your representative and voice voice your conscience and that we need to get this passed. But more importantly, it's important that you guys are engaged, because moving forward to a Trump presidency, which is going to happen, remember when Trump had his initiatives, it was Congress that had actually blocked a lot of what he wanted to do. And that was a Republican held body. So there were people here that did not want to secure the border, et cetera. Now, since then, some of those people have not gotten reelected, but it is really important that you guys know exactly who you guys are voting for, get involved with ballot chasing operations, help out and work at local precincts, get involved in local politics. It matters.
Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, great work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So here's the list. Dan Crenshaw was not there. Let's see. Granger from Texas was not there. LaTurner from Kansas was not there. Thomas Massey's, his wife just died, so that's completely understandable. And McHenry from North Carolina was not there. This needs to be a priority. No more excuses, guys.